So here we have some crafts for back to school, apple crafts, but this is the warning. Only continue watching if you are indeed interested in moving away from cookie cutter crafts to creative crafts. Here are a couple of copycat crafts that I found online. Everyone's doing the same thing, same activity for each child. And now let us see how we do it in a more creative fashion. So, apple crafts. This particular craft is part of my, I have this framework of 5 different ways that you can use crafts in a developmentally appropriate way. And this one is when you use a template. So basically a template is, it would be an apple, in this case cut out, and have the children just do various process art activities on top of it. Now, I was using watercolor paper in different sizes and also Bristol board. Now, this is expensive, so if it's in a classroom or if you don't have it, you can use regular tag board. I was using watercolor paper because it's nice and firm, and I was going to do some activities on it that watercolor paper works better with, but you could just use what you have. And what I did with the few children I was doing it with, I first started by drawing it and telling them to cut it, but a couple of them were just having a hard time following the lines, depending on what ages they are. So I just figured, you know what, I'm just gonna cut them out and give it to them, because this idea is just give them the template and then let them create those process art activities on top of it. So I'm going to show you a few of the samples that the children have done. This was one. Child wanted to just paint. Also, if you wanted to, you can always, if you want to add a stem afterwards, or you can cut it out with a stem. This was just painted with regular crafts paints. You can use regular tempera as well. Next one, I had given the children all kinds of options, like these are the different things that you can do for your craft. So this child wanted to just color, so I gave him, this was a 6-year-old, I gave him oil pastels, and he colored it just using the colors of different apples. He obviously knew here to leave a little highlight. So that was another one, just coloring with crayons or oil pastels. I didn't have any crayons. Another one here, this was using, oops, sorry, this got all dirty, but this method is using crayon. It's a watercolor resist. You need liquid watercolors. You don't really need liquid watercolors with this. You can use regular, but I like using liquid. You need either a white crayon or a white oil pastel, and they color, and these are watered down liquid watercolors. You can use the Blick, you can use the colorations, and when you paint on top of it, it's a resist, and the white that you colored stands out. So this is a little bit of a larger one. Then you have, this one was using the dyeing tissue paper. So this is, you need to use bleeding tissue paper for this. And this is Spectrum, is bleeding tissue paper, and I happen to have had red. So you take like just a whole bunch of pieces like this, you cut them up, they put them down here with water, and then they lift them up and it dyes it. I had given him some green also. I thought he would add some green. He only wanted red. Covered the whole thing with it. This is an 8-year-old, so younger ones will not cover the whole thing as perfectly as this child did. And afterwards he asked if he could have a marker. He wanted to make a smiley face on it. And then the last activity, this is a 4-year-old. I just gave her, we had a whole bunch of tissue papers and greens, some reds, and some glue, and you could tell that this is a younger child. And then she found some glitter and decided to add some of her own glitter. So this is a way where you can still send home or give children something that looks like something specific if parents or if you're expecting something like that. But then you give them so many different ways of decorating them that they don't even notice that they're making an apple. Does this type of crafting resonate with you? If so, go to the link in the description below and you can get my free 2-page craft makeover guide, which will teach you how to take appropriate crafts and make them more creative and developmentally appropriate.